Anticipation of the show puts you on edge. The music shifts you, you can't get it out of your head. It's Greg Leon, and you're listening to FireRock Talk.
All right. Hey, Greg, this is Tom Collier here. We got a great co-host, Blastzone Mike, is with us. We're so excited to have you on here. So everybody knows the storied career you've had. I mean, so many. You're part of history, rock history. That's all there is to it. But I think a lot of our listeners right now would like to know, what are you doing today? What's going on in your life musically? Why don't we start from here? Because we're going to work our way back.
Okay, well, cool. Well, I'm still writing music, still playing and singing. It's pretty tough in California. There's no real clubs to play anymore for, concert act like what I do. I'm not a little club act where, they got all these guys playing little blues clubs. And it's not even about the money. It's being able to go and do the full show with Marshall stacks. I mean, I've got 6 Marshall stacks. I only play out of 2 bottoms, and 4 SVT stacks and a big drum set. And, those clubs are just gone. The House of Blues closed. That was a wonderful place to play. The Roxy, if you're not with, I forget who it is, you can't play there. I can't think of the name of the company, but they own like everything. The Whiskey's okay, but you can only play there a couple times a year. And people don't really like to go there that much anymore. I'm going to try to open this up a little bigger. Oh, good. Yeah, you can't really play that many times a year. And people, they get you, $25 for parking and then the food and the drinks. And people they're kind of over it, We did play at the Whiskey on May 31st it was either last year, maybe it was the year before now. And it was a Wednesday night. That was all we could get, but we drew 147 people and actually made some money. They gave me a check for $1,600 for, I'd been playing there since I was in Sweet 19 back in 1978. Never, ever got a check or money from playing there. Well, just consider it promotion. There's no promotion and there's no record labels out there scouting for bands. Come on, man. Oh. So they did a meet and greet, which I didn't even know. This is hilarious. They did a meet and greet and I didn't even know they were going to do it. And I guess 12 people showed up and it was $100, but you get to sit in a booth and there's, I think, 6 people in the booth. And that $100 gets you, drinks or whatever coming to the table and stuff. And, then you go down and meet them and they say, hey, you got people that want to meet you, Greg. Oh, okay. I thought they were at the door. They go, no, they're down at the meet and greet. So I went down there. It was all people that I went to school with that brought their kids to see me play because they'd heard about me for years. And I just thought that was the funniest thing. But anyways, it was a great night. We killed them and it was good. They couldn't believe that we drew that many people on a Wednesday night. But, but people don't go out like they used to. That's for sure, especially when you get older. Everybody's got work and then you don't want to lose your bathing privileges at the old folks' home. So you got to be home,
A lot of the clubs are open. We're doing shows here in New York. Some of them were starting at 6 o'clock and ending at 10 o'clock. It's like we'll have like 3 bands ahead of us. They want it done at 10 o'clock. Nobody's staying out late anymore. It's crazy.
I know.
We used to not start till midnight,
It's those bathing privileges they're worried about,
Yeah, absolutely. So Blastzone Mike has a question for you. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a huge Motley Crue fan, okay?
I'm sorry.
And
no, I'm kidding.
I mean, I know you played with Tommy back in the day with Sweet 19. Can you tell me how you come together with Tommy and how you decided to make a band with him?
Well, yeah, I had Sweet 19 going and I had Gary Holland as my drummer and we started the band, Gary and I. And Tommy was at all these shows and he was this kid, this young, wiry, lanky kid. Every time he went to see me, he was just loving what I was doing. He wanted to be my drummer. I said, well, I don't need a drummer. I got a drummer. Gary's awesome, So one thing led to another. Little bit down the road, I guess Gary and I don't know what happened. We weren't playing together again. We had a little falling out for a while. So Tommy comes up to me this one night. I was out at, I think, a club called the Wood Sound in Monrovia. And I'd been auditioning drummers and nobody was close to Gary. Gary was just so far ahead of everybody. And then I meet Tommy and I figured, well, hell, I think he was only 19 at the time. I figured, hell, what the hell? I go, if you got a bass player, I'll get together with you. So we got together. He had a bass player that was in a band called US 101, and the guy's name was John Kemp. So we went to Tommy's house. He had a rehearsal room at his house, and he knew all my songs, and we did a bunch of covers, and we had a ball. I mean, we played and played, and I go, this will work. So that's how it started. I mean, I just, out of frustration, and Tommy was as good then at 19 as he is now. He has always been that good of a drummer. Great meter, great, fun to play with. I don't know where he's at now, politically or whatever. I don't even care, but he's always been a great drummer, and that's all I cared about. And it was fun to hang out with. Man, we had a ball. We had a ball hanging. He had that town at West Covina wired.
So, not to interrupt, but so would you say that was a precursor to Motley Crue almost?
Oh, there's no two ways about it. Yeah. Yeah, and then I got the call from Randy Rhoads and Kevin DuBrow when Randy got the Ozzy gig, and I was Randy's favorite guitar player locally, and so they asked me if I wanted to join, because Randy got the gig with Ozzy, and I said, man, I'd be honored to do that. So I did that, and man, I tell you, Tommy's folks were pissed because they thought this was going to take him up because we were playing all over the place, and so I went to do that, and I told Tommy, let me do this, and when I make a bigger name for myself, I'll come back and we'll put the band back together. So in the meantime, I'm playing with Kevin and Drew and Gary Van Dyke in the Quiet Riot thing, but we ended up changing the name to DuBrow, and we did that for a while. And Kevin was just hard to work with. It just started to not be fun. I wasn't looking forward to rehearsals. When he was in a good mood, there was nobody better. I mean, he knew how to party. He knew how to have a good time and throw a party. But it was the downtime when he'd get in a shitty mood and start, yelling at you. And so like, yelling at me? What the hell, I actually went to blows twice. And, I'm 5'7". This guy's 6'2" or 3 or 4. And, got him in a headlock and wouldn't let him go. I said, anyways, it's another story. But it got to that point where if you're not having fun in a band and that's happening, it's time to get the hell out. So I split, and Don Dokken had been after me for at least 2 years. We had met playing at a club called the Rock Corporation in Van Nuys. And my road crew accidentally put all of his Marshall heads into my car, into my equipment van. And so I got a call the next day when he couldn't find his heads, thinking, and I didn't know they were in there. So I said, no, I don't think so. He goes, would you do me a favor and go out there and look? He goes, I'll call you back in 5 minutes. I go, yeah, go ahead. So I open up my doors of my equipment van. Sure enough, there's these 50-watt early Marshall heads, the little baby heads. And I called him back. He called me back, and I said, yeah, I got him. So he came up here to the house, and, one thing led to another. He goes, man, I really love the way you sing and you play guitar. I go, we could do something great together. And this went on for a long time. And then I got so sick of Kevin DuBrow, and he kept calling me, and he told me the magic words one day. He goes, I've got European dates. I said, I'm in. We rehearsed down in Torrance for about 28 days. I think we rehearsed 3 weeks. And I brought my drummer in, Gary, from the Sweet 19. And we had a guy named Gary Link, who ended up being the bass player in Steppenwolf till the end. Great bass player, great guy. And we went over to Europe, and Don and I were writing lyrics on the plane. Hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? Is this good? And we're doing that. So we get there, we have a couple rehearsals, and we start playing. We're killing them. There was lines around the block, 4 people wide playing in Europe. But we get back to the States, and we did a bunch of showcases, and all the A&R guys were saying, we're not signing any more guitar bands. Van Halen was the last guitar band we're signing. And we're like, what? They go, that's old news. That's not good, and they didn't realize this is what's coming. This heavy metal, hard rock, melodic hard rock thing was coming in. So after about 6 months of that or so, I just said, you know what? If it ain't going to happen, then I don't want to just keep spinning my wheels. You're only young once. So, and while we were over in Germany, Dieter Dirks, the producer from the Scorpions, came to see us and took us in the studio. And we did a 5-song demo over there. And I guess after I left, Don shopped that demo, and he got a deal with Carrera with those songs. And, the rest is Dokken history. And I came back here, and I was going to put a band together with Tommy. And we went to the Starwood one night, and this band London that had Nikki Sixx as his bass player was doing their farewell show. They were breaking up and going to start something new. And Tommy just loved Nikki. He just thought he was the shit. And I go, he's not really at the level that I want to be at with a bass player. I mean, I just played with, some really great bass players and musicians, and I just don't want to simplify my music. I really wanted to put something together like in the vein of Rainbow meets Jimi Hendrix meets Frank Marino, something like that that's much more musical and more involved. And so, and I took him to meet Nicky and introduced him. And Tommy was hoping I would be the guitar player in the band, but I didn't want to be a sideman again, just a guitar player. I wanted to sing and play like I'd always done, be the lead vocalist and the guitar player. And, you know, I was writing a lot of songs back then and still am. So I told Tommy I'm not interested at all. And that was as far as that went. He knew I was serious. But I said, do whatever you want, because if you like the guy and you feel good about it, I'm not going to hold you back or stop you from doing anything. I held on to my part of the deal. I said when I came back that we'd put it back together and move on from there. So I basically said, do what you want to do, man. I can't control you or even tell you what to do. I would never do that to anybody. So that's how the whole Motley Crue thing and my association with it. I never once played with them. They didn't even have a name when they were putting it together. I think Nicky was going to call it Christmas, I think was what he wanted to call it or something like that. But the name Motley Crue, that was Mick's name. And Mick had all the money behind him from his, I think his brother-in-law had a bunch of money to put in to promote him. And that's how they were able to buy those full page ads for like a year straight and just promote the hell out of them in BAM magazine and the other local magazines. So I think without Mick in the band, I don't think it would have happened the way it did, because they were like on the cover and on full page ads everywhere. Nobody could afford it. But Nicky was smart. He knew it was all about promotion. He had a great image. And yeah, you know, so that was my association with them. And, you know, I went to a lot of the early rehearsals and hung out with them at the Clark house, the apartment. And yeah, that's my association with them.
All right. Well, why don't we, Greg, talk about you have a spouse that's very talented too. Is your wife?
Oh yeah, Sousa.
Sousa, yeah. So I stay out of politics, but we all have our vision. But her song, I really like, Corruption. Was it Corruption Eruption?
Yeah, I wrote that with her. She came up with
you
all the lyrics.
Guitar? Is that you playing? I thought that was you playing guitar, but
yeah,
talk a little bit about that.
I'm playing guitar and playing bass. She wanted a song. I stay out of politics too for, you know, stuff like this, because all it does is divide people, and I don't want to divide. I want to bring people together if I can. But she, you know, she's Canadian and she just became an American citizen, and she was watching all the stuff happening and it was just like pissing her off. You know, she comes to America, the land of opportunity and stuff, and she sees how corrupt a lot of the stuff is. So she starts jotting lyrics. She's a wonderful lyricist, wonderful. And she helps me with my lyrics when I get stuck, or she makes them better. You know, when I think I'm done, she goes, no, you can make it better than that. So anyway, so I want a song like this. And she had some Canadian song that had a feel to it. She goes, it would go good with that. So I wrote the music for it and recorded it. I played all the guitars, the bass, and that weird guitar thing in the middle section that sounds like a spy versus spy type of a thing, you know? And then she wanted to do a video. And I said, okay, well, that's great, but how are you going to market it? Or how, you know, but she said, I don't care. I just want to get it done. So she put it up there and it's getting, you know, hundreds of views. I think she's at like about 400 views. And then at the same time, she released a movie that she co-starred in about 15 years ago that the director and the guy that wrote the script passed away, and she had a copy of it. So she posted it, and that damn thing is getting 1,000 hits a week or more. It said, I think it's like 39,000 views already in about a month. And it's called Oblivious. And I wrote all the music for that movie too. And she steals the show she's so beautiful. I mean, you watch her in that movie and it's just, she's a great actress, a really great actress. But anyways, that's the story on Corruption. That was something that she wanted to do. She had things she wanted to say about it. And I was kind of poo-pooing the whole thing. You know, I don't know if you want to, you know, go that way because you're going to divide people and piss people off. And she goes, I don't care. They need to know the truth. And, you know, she gets her head set on something, she's going to do it. So I just did what she wanted me to do, write it and produce it. And I have a 24-track tape studio here at the house. And we just did it all there. You know, I don't remember who played the drum. I think a guy named Ricky Parrish did the drums on that. I'm pretty sure. And it's great. It's a fun song. It's got a great feel, very 80s. You know, it's just a good rock and roll song.
Well, what I love is that you guys are not, I love it through the music. I think that's the way people should express themselves. I've wrote some political songs. I don't take sides, but I've wrote political songs and people don't even know they're political. They're out there singing their song. They have no idea. I think that's how people should express it. I don't get on Facebook and fight with people or anything like that.
Yeah.
That's why I just say it. I thought it was really cool. This came out. She's very talented, and you guys have been. Are you always collaborating? Doesn't she have a record? Doesn't she have a band too?
Well,
What?
I was her band, and we had a bass player and a drummer, and we've been through a few bass players and drummers. Lately, I just play the bass on it just to get stuff done, and we bring in other drummers. I played drums on her first record on a few of the songs, and she's had a band. I took her out on the road with me. We did some festival shows up in Oregon, and they opened up for us, and we had a ball. I mean, it was really fun. She's great. She's best friend in the world, the best girlfriend I've ever had, and I'm just lucky that she married me.
Excellent.
I don't know what I'd be doing now.
Sounds
We've been
good.
together 25 years now.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's a
Wow.
long time. Wow.
Yeah.
So we got about probably 5 minutes left. Unfortunately, it's a 30-minute show. It's flying by really fast. I
Oh
want to
man, you're not kidding.
Yep. But Mike, I'm sure I don't want to take up all the questions. Mike, you got another question for him? Because I know you wanted to talk to Greg.
Yeah, well, one thing I want to ask you, and since you were in the time period back then and now you're in this time period, do you think that things would have been different with the music industry if we had the technology we had today? Do you think that there would have been a different change in the music industry instead
Yes.
of there was?
I don't think there would have been a music industry. Look at where it's at now. Everybody just file shares. I got a deal with Sony a few years ago when I first met Tom, and they promised me promotion. They promised me all this other, and I had 3 other offers on the table, but they were the only ones that offered promotion. And so I signed with them. They were a year late getting it out. This is Sony. I mean, and the Orchard, the distribution worldwide. So they release it. They don't do any promotion. It's just released. It's squeaked out. And, me and the guys in the band are like looking at all the magazines. We're going online trying to find, and it's everywhere. I mean, you go online pushing Greg Leon Invasion, Tell the Children. It's everywhere, but nobody knows about it. So it just, and I called up the label about 6 months after. I go, guys, we've been looking everywhere. Where are you guys promoting this thing? Well, Greg, nobody really buys music anymore. They just stream it. So we don't do promotion anymore because it's just as expensive as it ever was. And there's no way to recoup our money. We don't do that. I go, well, why the hell did you sign me? This is ridiculous. You just wasted a couple of years of my life. And I'm getting up there. I mean, I can't just keep, waiting around for, the hammer to fall. This is, I gave you a great record. We gave you all of the artwork. I mean, it's a great looking record, a great sounding record. Everybody that's heard it loves it. It's my 4th release, but it just, every time I've had a record deal or a distribution deal, they don't do shit with it. They don't spend any money. They think that things are just going to come to them because they get they get me or whoever else they're signing. They think it's just going to magically happen. They're going to make money. My first record was released. I think it went into 8 pressings over in Japan. Never received a dime. And I talked to my lawyer at the time. He goes, well, you can go after and stop them. It's going to cost you a lot of money and you're never going to get that money. You're just going to stop them. He goes, why don't you do another record and just really protect yourself? So I did another record. I did the Wishing Well record, which I think is one of my best. And, we got a little bit of an advance. I gave it to the guys and, it came out. People loved it. But, rock and roll, they're not promoting rock and roll. If you're not doing rap or hip hop or something like that, they're not going to promote it. And if you look, hard rock and melodic hard rock is what sells out stadiums. It's just, I don't get it why they've just turned their back on rock and roll. I don't get it.
Yeah, and
it's very frustrating.
And the digital, they all want to do just the digital.
Yep.
We're going all out physical now. Physical is going fantastic. We're really
good.
People are buying it. Vinyl. Good. I mean, Mike works for a record label. Mike will tell you, people are buying vinyl, CDs. They want to hold on to something. They're getting sick of the digital stuff. They love the experience of holding. Lots of people are buying so we put out NZM. That's Yngwie Malmsteen's singer, Nick Marino, is getting ready to put another album with us. People would buy 2 of his albums. They'd keep one. They'd never open the other one. They'd play.
That's awesome.
So it's been really good. And I think that's the way to go. Physical is the way to go. But
that was my question to the label was that we were going to do physical. We're all about it.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. What is the show?
After I spoke to you a few years ago, I was thinking, maybe we should, because you were talking about doing a compilation you
Yep.
know.
Yep.
So anyways, I told a buddy of mine of this and he gifted me with this, like the album cover. And it's freaking awesome.
Nice.
So maybe we should talk on that and maybe, move forward with that. Because
absolutely.
I thought that the Sony deal with a major label was going to be the be all and end all, what I've been hoping for. I mean, always wanted Warner Brothers, but they're not signing rock anymore.
No.
And I don't think anybody really is. There's no majors doing it, whatever's left of a major.
No.
Well,
But I got very depressed, and I got name players in my band. I mean, the guys on my last record, I got Ronnie Siago on drums, who's like one of the best on the planet, and Rick Brandt on bass, who plays in the LA Philharmonic, and now he's working at Sony. He scores the orchestras for them. He's a really smart musician. So I mean, I got named guys, but God dang it. So let me just tell this guy I'll call him back. Dan, I'm in an interview. I'll call you back. So yeah, it's just really tough right now for musicians. I don't care who you are. And that's why all these guys that, they're playing in 20 or 30 different bands. I don't know, 20 or 30, but
Sure.
a lot of bands, and they're out there killing themselves just trying to make ends meet. Thank God I listened to my dad and I got a trade and I own my own business. Because if I was counting on the music, I don't know what the hell I would do.
Yep. It's tough. A lot of stuff we're doing too is we're actually releasing movies, TV shows. So we're getting the band scores on them, stuff like that. We're getting ready to do another show. Actually, I'll be with Mike in Lexington in 2 weeks. He found
Nice.
this great woman. She does Creole cooking, incredible personality. She's friends with Emma Lagasse. I mean, so we're flying out. I'm flying out to shoot the first episode with her. But I think
that's awesome.
Yep. But so, like I said, we're trying to get people's music on the shows. There's a lot of different things going on with us now. We're releasing books, TVs. We just did a documentary called "The Artist and the Astronaut." The damn thing's selling out. The DVDs are selling out on us. We're like, holy
It's
cow.
incredible.
Yep. People
Incredible.
are buying physical product. They're back at it. But
Yeah.
so,
Oh, that's awesome.
did we lose you, Mike?
I think he's
we
gone.
lost him. Okay. Well, now we can talk bad about him. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No,
Who the hell is this guy? No, I'm kidding.
absolutely.
And what's he doing on our show? No.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, absolutely. But so have you got more new music ready or anything like that?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm still writing. I'm writing for my wife too. And just staying busy, with my business is gangbusters. And the music thing, it's very frustrating because you finish these songs. Well, what are you going to do with them?
Yeah.
You got this great music, but how do you get it out there to the people? And the people, I get fan letters and I get emails, and people find me on my website, GregLeonInvasion.com. And, they text me and they buy the music, or they stream it, or, I go to the NAMM show and people are coming up, hey, you're Greg Leon. I go, yeah. And they open their phone, they got all my music in there. I haven't got no money for that. They're like digging my songs. How did you come up with that riff? How did you get that riff? And, it's just how it is nowadays. It's not a money-making thing unless you can afford to be out there on the road.
Yep, that's it. Ripper Owens is out. Ripper Owens is out playing all the time. When he's not with KK's Priest, he's out with him. Ripper and I did 2 albums together. In fact, he just sang on my new record. I'm getting ready to put
cool. Great singer.
He is. He's a hard worker, but you're right. It's a tough life out there. But
it is.
What we're trying to do as a record label now is we're just trying to make it as easy as possible for the people. I mean, we've got relationships with some great radio promotion stuff. 2 of our bands just got charted. That we released. We got some really good things going on here. And we think it's important we want the artists to make the money. And that's why we're giving great deals out there right now to the artists and things, but we can definitely talk about that sometime.
Yeah, definitely. You talk about charted. I think my last record charted. Oh, you said charted. I thought you said charted. I'm kidding.
Yeah. Jack Black charted.
Yeah, no, I'm really proud of what I've done. You look back and I look at all these songs and I play them once. Very, very seldom do I go through my back catalog, but when I do listen to it, man, it brings back some great memories and great gigs and people that I met over the years and people that still love this music. People I'll run into, hey, you're still playing this song, you're still playing that song, and I'll play any of them, whatever you want, just come and see me play.
Well, that's a great thing you're saying. Let me ask you this question. I'm sure all the listeners want to hear this. What is like a couple of your greatest memories? I know you've got some memories that they're hard to pick, but just something like sticks out in your mind, maybe a funny story, something like that. Why don't you tell them that?
Well, the fact that, Randy Rhoads and Kevin DuBrow called me up to take Randy's place in the Quiet Riot. That was a thrill. And, we were rehearsing at the same place. Randy and I had been friends for a couple of years at that point. And, I gave him the riff for Crazy Train. I mean, that was a song that I had called, that was a song I had called Every Time, that was on a 45 that was released in Canada. And it's just basically taking the chords to Swingtown from Steve Miller and just changing them around with a different rhythm on it. And he dug it, and some of the riffs that he had, that was another one of my riffs that he dug and he ended up using. So now they're there forever. But let me see, there were so many funny, crazy things that happened over the years. It's pretty hard to get put on the spot to come up with something,
Well, what was it like to teach at Randy's school? Didn't you teach at Randy's school for a little while?
Yeah, I took over all of the students. I didn't lose one. In fact, I gained a couple. And I went from no students to, I think, about 80 students.
Wow.
And it was incredible. I mean, it was nonstop. And then we have rehearsals at night, at Vision's rehearsal studio in Burbank with the Quiet Riot thing. And it was weird. I mean, I don't have a whole lot of patience because usually things come really easy to me. I can figure things out pretty quickly. And some of these people, I went up to Randy's mom, Dee, and I said, I don't know, man, I feel like a lot of these people are just wasting their money. And she's going, no, that's not for you to decide. Just keep them here, make them, keep them interested so we get that money. Don't tell somebody, So, I didn't say nothing to anybody, but that part of it was frustrating because you'd go over the same thing and then they wouldn't have done their homework till the next week to come in. They didn't learn anything. And a couple of the people were really good and it was really fun because you could sit there and actually jam or, they'd bring in a song like they couldn't figure out. They want me to figure it out. So I'd come back the next week and have it ready for them to learn. But at the end of it, I remember making a promise to myself, which I have kept to this day. I'm never giving another guitar lesson as long as I live. And I've had a lot of people ask me, dude, you give lessons? I go, no, not no more. It just burnt me out. It was just too much. I mean, from zero to that, it just nonstop. And plus, I'm older now and, I'm not, I know too much about the music industry now to, be back then, you're in it with rose colored glasses and you're looking at that light at the end of the tunnel. Well, I think that light at the end of the tunnel went out due to budget restraints. I don't know, but it's just not like it was back there. We used to play all of the clubs in Hollywood, and there was lines around the block to see us, and it was a scene. It was exciting. We played with all the other big bands in the area, and it was all a camaraderie. It was fun. I mean, you just felt lucky to be involved in it and to be at the top of the tier. And my problem was, I think that I never really had. Well, back then I didn't have the songwriting abilities that I have now. Kevin DuBrow taught me a lot about writing songs. Because I'd bring in a bunch of riffs and we would just make songs out of them. In fact, it was a third record with the Quiet Riot one. A lot of those songs on there I wrote with Kevin or, came up with the parts like Thunderbird. That was a song we wrote in his living room. And Party All Night, that was a Sweet 19 song, most of it. But he taught me how to put things together, with parts and stuff and make things flow. So I think there was always a weakness with the bass players. And being a three-piece, you can't have any slackers. But it was so hard to find bass players that we would settle just to get somebody in there. And I'd work with them and show them the parts. But it was like they couldn't think on their own unless I showed them what to play. And which is okay if they do it. And it was okay, but it wasn't great. And I'd get a lot of people, from labels, you got to get in another band, man. These guys are going to hold you back. I mean, when we auditioned early on, we auditioned at Gazzari's a couple of times. Didn't get it. And Bill Gazzari called me into his office. Hey, Leon, before you leave, I want to talk to you. So he goes, you're great. You got a great look. You're, young. You're a foxy guy. All the stuff you used to say. But he said, these guys are going to hold you back. He goes, you're way ahead of these guys. They're and not even in your league. He goes, you need to get rid of them, put another band together and call me. So I got rid of those guys and I met Gary Hallinan at the time, who went on to Great White. He was in Dokken with me, and we started Sweet 19 together. And we had a guy named Don Peterson on bass. We got every audition we ever went for. We ended up being the house band at Gazzari's. And then we started playing the Whiskey and the Starwood. And then the bass player, he was scared of success. So then he's gone after about a year. And he was great, had the best tone and feel. And him and I was sharing him with Chris Holmes from Wasp. They had a band together. And so we all were hanging out, and, Don was great, but he was scared of success. So we had to move on. We got and there was other guys that were better than him, but it wasn't that magic that was with him. And we had another guy too, Robin, who girls went crazy for this guy. And unfortunately, guys too went crazy for him. But, and we were playing all over the place. I mean, there was like hordes of people following this band. And I don't know, he just one day just decided that it was evil or whatever. And his dad was a preacher or a reverend or something. And
Wow.
he split. And then we're putting, it was just trying to catch up to what we were, a year, 2 years, 3 years ago.
Right.
It's very frustrating,
One last question for you. I think we got about 2 minutes left here. What kind of advice would you give to young artists and things like that are songwriting, that want to be we know nobody's going to be rock stars anymore, really, but what would you talk to the young people? We've got thousands of listeners on here.
Well, I would tell everybody what my dad told me: learn a trade. Because if this doesn't happen, you still got to get on with your life. You're probably going to want to get married. You're probably going to want to own your own home. You're going to want to have a nice car. Maybe you like nice equipment or want to build a studio. But what if you break a finger? That's what my dad always said. What if you break a finger? Because there was a lot of jealous people out there that want to fight you. I was young. I had hair down to my waist. And, there's a lot of jealousy out there. You never know what people are going to do to you. But I would say stay in school, learn a trade, do it as a hobby. If you get something off the ground, that's great, but don't count on it. It's not like it was 30, 40 years ago. I mean, there's not big rock stars getting made. I mean, everything's a flash in the pan now. You see these bands on, the late night shows. You see them one time and you never hear about them again. It's because they hired a PR firm, and that PR firm promoted them and got them that gig on the show. But once that money dries up and they're not paying that PR firm, they move on to the next one that's going to pay them. And you can't get any traction almost anymore.
Right.
Very few people can really gain traction to really start letting it snowball. It's very tough, way tougher than it's ever been. And talent is not enough to get you by anymore. And it hasn't been for a long time. You got to have a good business sense. You got to have a good team of people with you. It's a business, and, it's fun when you're starting out because you're just having fun. You're playing parties, you're meeting girls, you're partying. But to take it to the next level, it is, and nobody tells you how to do it. I mean, you are just stumbling through the woods blind until, you either meet somebody that's done it before with a track record, or, a lot of people just give up. I run into people that were really good. I go, hey, man, you're still playing? Oh, fuck that shit. I'm not playing no more. This is such a waste of my life. And I'm just thinking, man, I've tried to quit many times. I can't. I'm just what I do. Thank God I have a musical business. I get to play guitar every day, and with amps, because I repair amps and guitars.
The music is blasting, the crowd comes alive, the feelings of anger that